All right, go ahead.
Ta-ta, Turtle Man.
That's close.
What is it?
2 dads, 1 toy, no prisoners.
Yeah, that's
See,
pretty much what I said.
you got some. You said something with a
That's
T, so.
perfect.
It was implied.
This is episode 285 of I Hope You Suffer. Joe Pesci should have been Myron.
Oh.
I'm Booster.
Oh.
Poor Booster.
I thought I was gonna have to be Booster.
Nobody likes you, Booster.
I'll be Dementor. That seems fun.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
Or
Nathan's every member of the demon team.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Go Demon Team.
they wanted Joe Pesci to be Myron, but he was deemed to be too short next to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, but
why is that relevant?
I don't know. Apparently, no one wanted to point out that he had already done Twins with Danny DeVito.
Right. Okay, Kit, you can be Booster. I'll be Jeff L. Deist, which is TV Booster / puppeteer.
All right, deal.
Good.
We're going to be talking about Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Because that's what I watched.
Wow.
I'll just pull Kit and I'm like, so I got confused.
Yeah. Oops.
Even though we had a long conversation about it yesterday, I was confused. Sorry.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
Yeah, I mean.
We're going to talk about Jingle All The Way.
Every way.
Perfect film.
I watched the 2011 22-minute claymation Jingle All The Way. About a spirited husky puppy looking for a home in a Christmas tree farm.
Sounds way lamer.
I don't know. This looks pretty cute. I think Arnold's the voice of the dog.
Woof, woof. Let me in.
I need parents. That's my Arnold.
I need you're like every person ever impersonation voice. It does look kind of cute.
The sequel to Jingle All The Way looks pretty cute.
I'm not liking anything about it just by looking at the cover.
I like that it's got a 1.7 stars. I think it would be very funny if if Larry the Cable Guy was playing the same character.
Right.
Like the exact same cast, they just replaced Arnold with Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, this toy that he's having to get for his daughter looks very stupid. It's just a teddy bear. Like, who cares? Get over it.
I'm sorry,
it's not Turbo Man.
Is Turbo Man cool looking?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's Turbo Man. He's got a
especially
rocket
when he's
booster.
speaking Spanish.
Yeah.
See,
he's
that's the
bilingual.
That's a limited edition. I would have wanted that.
Right? He wouldn't know.
Not this fucking giant version that's out of a box.
Yeah, so I guess it's like a collector's item, right? Because it's like given away specifically at the parade, but when they show it, you're like, that's not even remotely the same toy. But it's fine.
I want that. It's out of the box. It's all like not
manhandled
valuable now. Like, come on.
Yeah, right.
The movie is extremely flawed. Yeah, this is fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I feel like if maybe I would have saw this when it came out,
yeah,
I would have been like, oh, this is pretty good, because I would have been like, I don't know, peak me being an Arnold fan as well.
Yeah,
like 96-ish.
Yeah, I was gonna say this came out in 1996, and I definitely saw it in the theaters. So I was, this has been This has been like literally one of the movies that has been like a part of my life since it came out. I watch it. Normally, this is one of the ones I watch only on Christmas, but It's a special occasion because Nathan has to watch it. I
Oh,
can
you mean like
see.
on Christmas Day?
Yeah. So I
Does
have
does
like.
that not get in the way of you watching A Christmas Story 17 times?
So I only did that when I think it was TBS used to do
Yeah,
24
24
hours.
Yeah,
hours.
they still do it.
So,
Yeah, they
but
do.
I don't have that anymore. Essentially, so like I
Sign up for
used
it.
to. I know I
Yeah, what are
should.
you doing?
I used to just like turn it on and have it on all through because I think it comes on at 7 p.m. Christmas Eve and then
Yeah,
goes through Christmas
it's
or
7
whatever.
p.m. Yeah.
So I used to do that, but whenever we stopped having cable or whatever the fuck we had, I switched to because we used to also at one point like not have any streaming services either. So I switched to my thing that I do on Halloween, which is Christmas Eve and Christmas. I have specific movies that I'll watch. But number one, special occasion to get to talk about it finally, and number two, since we're traveling, I'm like, it's fine this year. I'll just save A Christmas Story. And
No.
I could see why this would be like crazy if you didn't grow up watching it. I think like nostalgia is probably pretty high for this one, but I just like love it. And it's like one of those movies that like as soon as I sit down and it starts playing and I hear the like Turbo Man music or like whatever, I'm just like it definitely is just like a comfort movie for me, and I still laugh at the jokes. So
Yeah, well, I don't know. Kit, what's your history with this movie?
I actually didn't watch it growing up. I probably didn't watch it until I was like 15 or 16, I think. And I don't know why, like, it's like me and my parents decided to watch it one year, and we're like, this is the best Christmas movie that isn't Scrooged.
oh,
So,
Scrooged is so good too.
yeah. So, I don't know, it just became like a yearly tradition, and I, I don't know. I don't know why it speaks to me, but it does. It's so fucking funny.
I think, like, for me, more. I think I wanted, like, more Arnold and
More
Sinbad
Sinbad.
hijinks
Mhm.
happening as opposed to, like, all of the family drama. And,
Sure.
like, well, like, I'd like Phil Hartman in this. I feel like they go back to that too much. Or, like,
Yeah.
more than I
I-
wanted to. Like, I would have rather seen, like, I don't know, one more, like, big, like, store, like, set piece or some shit, you know? Where, like, Sinbad and Arnold are having to, like, try to find the doll, another version of the doll.
I don't know. Because of all the Phil Hartman stuff, you do get the kids saying she's in the other room petting Ted.
Yeah. And Dad,
I mean-
you smell like vomit.
Phil Hartman is killing
Let's
it in
get
this.
out
but-
of here. So that's and actually like whenever I was like, can we please do Jingle All the Way? And you were like, fine. I was like, I cannot wait for you to see Phil Hartman in this
Well, I
movie
had
because
already, I've heard this movie talked about or like broken down on like a couple podcasts at this point.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
like I remember, I forget what podcast it was. I don't know if it was How Did This Get Made, but it was something kind of like that. And I remember like them just losing their minds that like Phil Hartman's apparently just like fucking every mom in town.
Yeah. They're so thirsty for him.
I
And
mean,
he's just
can't blame them.
I know, and he's
Right.
just like so over the top, like fake
Yes.
nice
Sleazeball.
wholesomeness.
Like,
Yeah.
Caitlin kept referring to him as Ned Flanders.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I was like, rude.
without-
Ned Flanders wouldn't be doing this.
I was gonna say without the ulterior motive, he is very Flanders
He's like Ned Flanders if they put like Moe's brain into his head.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the other thing about this that like it is like a typical Christmas movie in that the dad is like a workaholic, like messing
up.
up with his family, and he has to like the one thing that he can do is like get this toy or whatever, but all of the other stuff that happens in it is like so like the writing, the jokes are so like some of the stuff is just again I think just like really my humor, like, okay, spoilers for Jingle All the Way from 1996. When they're in the van and Phil Hartman is like coming on to Liz, and he was like, for me, it started 3 months ago at the barbecue, and you asked me how to marinate ahi tuna, and I said, all you need is Italian salad dressing. And he's like massaging her shoulder, and the way he's saying it is just like, bro, he's so delusional. It's just your review of this movie being unhinged is like
It is.
very
It's
fair.
fucking
Yeah.
like it's bizarre that this was a movie that got made by like a major studio for me.
Right.
Yeah, and especially when you take into account the whole like finale of the movie with him like fucking flying around and shit. It's
Like,
just
that is
insane.
insane. Like the fact that like I understand the concept that like everyone is supposed to think this is a scripted like thing that's happening at the end when Sinbad is literally trying to murder a child off a fucking building.
Drop off the building.
Literally,
And like
he was gonna murder Anakin Skywalker
like,
for a toy.
the mom of all people is just like, this seems alright, I guess. Somebody
Yeah,
seems to know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, none of them could recognize fucking the one massive 6'5" fucking ripped like Austrian man in town.
His voice is also like not distorted that much, but I guess
Yeah, you could still clearly tell.
yeah,
Who that is.
It's the Clark Kent.
I mean,
syndrome.
that has been proven to be a real thing.
Yeah,
And like they've done like that experiment where people just like for some reason can't recognize you when you put glasses on.
yeah.
So I mean, like I could buy it, but I'm also like, I don't know. It just
You know-
like, it drove me crazy how like his wife is just like, "Wow, thanks for saving my son, stranger."
Yeah.
Again, he's not around a lot.
No, yeah, not around a lot.
Wow,
I
your face is real
think
orange. Got that orange mask. I guess I can't tell.
the Clark Kent thing I feel like shouldn't work on people that you know intimately. But yeah.
That are like, hi, honey, how are you?
It's he's you're his all-time favorite person. Who else do you know that talks like that? Literally only Arnold
Jamie.
Schwarzenegger. Okay, let's slap into this here. It's great. It's so good. Go watch it if you haven't seen it, maybe. I don't know. If you're fun, you'll like it. Sorry. Okay. So Jingle All the Way starts with a TV show. Again, you guys know I love this like fucking product placement, like when they make up stuff,
A whole show.
a toy line, all this stuff. I'm in.
Theme song for this Turbo Man show, by the way, kicks ass.
It's really good.
So
especially the parade version where that guy with the sweet
Yes.
ponytail is like fucking hamming it. So good.
Yes. Get the guitar in there.
Wow. So we're seeing a TV show that is very reminiscent of the Power Rangers aesthetic, I would say,
Yeah.
where it's basically just like Turbo Man having to save, for some reason, the president's son.
Out in the middle of the fucking desert.
Yeah. And we also see Booster, who's his sidekick, who is this massive, like fuzzy pink creature, like saber-tooth creature, but wearing like gold underwear for some reason.
Why does
like
nobody want this toy? Because he seems cool.
I
as
don't
shit.
know.
He looks cool as shit. Like, I
yeah.
wanted a Booster action figure.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, anyways, and they're fighting the demon team, which are the minions. And again, it's like very Power Rangers-esque, right? So we're watching the TV show like as if this is the show. And then it pulls back where we meet Anakin Skywalker, who is watching the TV, and he's really into it. He's like, yeah, and like cheering and doing like Turbo Man stuff. His name is Jamie in this movie.
Quick shout out.
Yeah.
What is his name? The mentor in the TV show, Richard Mole, who just recently passed away. R.I.P. Richard Mole. The best that guy in the business.
Oh, he was in Casper and Wendy. Okay.
Was he?
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, R.I.P.
Forever immortalized in Jingle All the Way.
That's right.
M-U-
And like Night Court and a million other things. But
is it Mull Mole?
Moll.
M-O.
I was like, wait, is he Martin Mull's like relative? He plays the DJ in this movie. He's the guy that like he was like the boss on Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
Because like yeah, his last name is Mull. So that's why I was like,
Yeah.
wait.
Richard Mole was Big Ben in House.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy who plays Turbo Man in the TV show, Daniel Royden. He's not in a lot of stuff, but he's in something called The Adventures of Captain Zoom in Outer Space, which I assume has got to be great.
I forget.
Ron Perlman's in that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's perfect then.
I forget like which scene it is in this, like which time it's one of the moms like hitting on Phil Hartman, but Yardley Smith, the voice of Lisa Simpson, is one of them.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
That's
oh
amazing.
shit.
Wow. See,
See,
just
perfect film.
bangers, yeah. So
I needed
okay.
more Danny DeVito.
That's fair. I'll give you that. So Liz, who is the mom, comes down to tell Jamie that he's to get ready because they have to leave soon. They're going to Jamie's martial arts class where he is testing for a new belt. It switches over to an office holiday party where we meet Howard, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he is doing business calls. He's talking on the phone. I want to say, too, that there's a lot of lines in this movie that, like, Chris and I use just as normal, everyday vernacular, and one of them is, "You're my number one customer." We say it to the cats all the time.
Yo, I don't want customer.
So basically he's like doing all these like business calls and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll fix this for you because you're my number one customer." And he says it to everybody. And very early on, it's established that he's kind of a piece of shit because his wife calls and is like, "Where are you? Like, Jamie, like we're going to the martial arts thing. Like, where are you?" And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll be there. And don't forget, you're my number one customer," he says to her. Terrible.
I mean,
because
if your wife's not your number one customer, like,
Yeah,
what are you
she's
doing,
what I
not,
mean.
right?
but she's not, and it's a lie. If she should be the number one customer, and she's not.
I don't know. She seems pretty terrible.
Mm,
And this
is
kid, his son, fuck it. I'd be at work all the time too.
He's a little annoying. I will say though that this is another one of those movies that I was talking about. I don't remember if it was the last episode or if it was the bonus episode where I've realized as an adult that it just like resolves itself at the end, and they're all like a big happy family. Spoilers, but like he doesn't earn nothing that he does really like earns fixing everything. Do you know what I mean? Like he just like stumbled his way into being Turbo Man by accident, and then they're just like everything's fine, and I'm like,
I mean,
it's another lie
like,
though.
It was enough for Jamie to where Jamie was like, "Well, Dad, you must care because you really fucking tried to."
Oh, because you saved me from falling off of a building. Fair,
Also that.
I guess.
Thank you
Yeah.
for not letting me die by this crazy postman that is going to throw me off a
Going
building.
postal.
No one cares.
There you go. So anyway, his assistant is trying to tell him that he needs to leave for the test. He does that, "You're my number one customer," and Liz like hangs up on him, obviously. So he finally leaves the office where he is caught in really bad traffic. It's like switching back and forth between like the martial arts test and him in traffic. We meet Ted, who, as we said, is Phil Hartman and their next door neighbor, whose son
Perfect.
whose son is in the martial arts class with Jamie, right? So he's there. This is a scene where like all of the women are like so thirsty for him. They're like, "Ted, can you come fix my back porch?" Or, like snake my drain and like all of this shit. The look. So he's just like, "Yeah, I'll be right." Like, "Yeah, I'll come over." And then he looks over at Liz and like the disgust on her face is so funny. The like, I don't know. Phil Hartman was just so great.
Next level.
Such a character. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like almost everything. Like you could be watching SNL when he was on it. You'd be like, "God damn, this scene sucks." And then the second Phil Hartman would show up, you'd be like, "This is the greatest sketch I've ever seen."
I know. I think I don't know why. I think about this a lot. There was I want to say that maybe it was oh shit, I'm blanking on it. It might have been a Dateline thing, and it was like a documentary about like maybe it was called like The Last Days of Phil Hartman or something like that. And I like was watching it one time after I had rewatched Jingle All the Way, and I wasn't expecting to be like sobbing the whole time. It's like so tragic and sad, like everything that happened. And so then like watching movies like this, it just like is hard. It's sad. Anyway.
Yeah, way to bring everybody down. Merry Christmas, everybody.
I do recommend watching that because it's like a really well done documentary.
No, I mean, like
but
I was like obviously like I talked about like numerous times on here. Like The Simpsons was like my show growing up past like the age of, I don't know, 6, I think is when it premiered. Something like I was like 6 or 7, and like it's like I Phil Hartman, especially once I started kind of like watching SNL and then like especially the reruns on Comedy Central. Like I loved Phil Hartman, and so like yeah, that whole all that shit that like happened with him was like a real bummer, and like sucks because like it like I could only think about like what like comedies he could have been a part of that like he just like wasn't.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get a live action Lionel Hutz movie.
Well, probably would have been great.
Yeah.
So okay, so yeah, Ted, everyone, all the women are like hitting on him essentially, and Liz is just like, okay. Gross. Howard is it decides that he's gonna cut traffic by driving on the shoulder, and he is then pulled over by a motorcycle cop who, to be fair, like gives him a really hard time for no reason. He's essentially just like, hey, I'm really sorry, like, can you just give me the ticket? Like, I'm late for something. And the cop, like, makes him get out and, like, do a bunch of shit, right?
And does, like, sobriety tests and shit. Like,
yeah, and he's
damn,
like, can you,
fucking
like,
dickhead.
Recite
Most
the
realistic
alphabet.
cop in movie history.
I mean, really, though. And because of, like, this cop is a character throughout, and the stuff that happens later, I was really like, they really nailed him. So he's like, yeah, recite the alphabet, and he's like, A, B, C, and he's like, backwards. And I always remember watching this, I'm like, I don't think I could say the alphabet backwards. So like,
oh yeah, like it would take me so long to like, I'd have to like do it
forwards
A, B,
and then
C, D,
say
E,
it.
F, G, H, I, J, K,
I
Y,
literally, yeah,
A, B, C, D, E, you know, like.
Yep. Me too. So basically they're showing like the martial arts. The sensei is wearing a Santa hat and it's all decked out for Christmas, which I found very strange. They're doing all of their like little martial arts moves. Jamie is looking all forlorn towards the door because his dad has not arrived. Howard finally gets to the school where the martial arts test was, but it's totally empty.
Wouldn't he notice the parking lot being completely empty?
You know, I thought that, but I don't think so.
He's just like, no one gives a shit about these kids.
Yeah, listen.
It's fine.
Here's a perfect example of it. We were at the store today, and somebody walked by a display that had mirrors, and a mirror fell on the floor and broke. And we're like, oh, man. So we go to another aisle. This man just keeps walking and, like, stomps right all over it. It fell within his vision. So I don't think he would have noticed.
Look, I see shit like that happen while I'm at work, and I'm supposed to clean it up, and I do the same thing. I just go, I'm like, I'll just go past this and let someone else deal with it.
That's fine. You're sticking it to the man. You're not being, like, an oblivious. Like, you notice it, right? He just, like, fucking stomped right through it in his flip-flops, and I was like, sir.
Maybe he did that, and he was, like, trying to sue them to get some money.
Maybe. Actually, good call.
That's what I would have done.
So Howard gets back home, where Ted is on his roof putting Christmas lights up on his house, like on Howard's house, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" And so Ted is like very much the guy who's like pretending to help out, but he's just like doing like excessive shit that like
just wants to get laid
by your wife, right? Yeah. So he's just like. So then he comes inside and he's immediately like, why is Ted on the roof putting up lights? But Liz is not fazed. She's pissed, rightfully, because Howard
goes right through that.
Yeah.
Like, nope.
Howard promised he was going to be at the thing, and he wasn't. So,
You know,
uh,
leave this guy alone. He's keeping you in that
no,
house. She doesn't seem to be working.
no, do not even.
This kid's gonna
Don't
grow
men's
up to be
rights
fucking
me.
Darth Vader or some shit. Fuck him.
This is why. Because his dad didn't show up to his purple belt test. This is where it all went wrong.
Yeah, but this kid sucks.
He is a little annoying.
I'd go.
But
I'd
I
go
feel
fucking take that purple belt from him and be like, You don't deserve this.
he is a little annoying, but to be fair, I find most children annoying,
Yeah,
so
but
I don't really.
this is an issue I had when I saw fucking Phantom Menace. For the maybe hour of it I did. This kid is brutal. Like, I don't want to be that mean to like this child actor, but he sucks as an actor.
I will say,
And as a
like,
child.
Yeah.
he's not super great for as many things as I felt like. I guess he wasn't in too much, but he had a little bit of a moment where I feel
He's
like
he's better than Hayden Christensen was, and that was a grown ass man acting in those films.
I don't know.
and I'm Hayden Christensen. I just feel I can't talk about it. I'll start crying. There was like a thing where, like, you know how he got so much hate when those movies were out, and he just like
That's not
was
his fault.
no, well,
You know?
well, okay, so then he was like kind of like hid from the public for a long time because of how
Yeah.
mean people were to him about,
Poor guy.
and like it also he didn't write the movies either. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Whatever. And then I think I've talked about this before, but there was a thing recently where he went and so it's like kind of all come back around where people are like, you know what, we shouldn't have been so mean to him. He's a nice guy. Like, we like him. And he went to a convention and everybody was like, yeah, Hayden Christensen, and like cheering for him and stuff. And he just like starts like tearing up because he's just like, I mean,
That's
like
honestly all you have to do with, like, if you're in any of these sort of like big sci-fi or like sort of like quote unquote like nerd stuff, is like, if you just wait like 15 years, like you're
It'll
gonna
come back
go to a
around.
con.
yeah, you're gonna be
Yep.
fucking beloved. Because like there's the thing is, like, as much as every fucking adult hated those prequels, like the kids that saw them at that time, that's their original trilogy or whatever.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, like all of that stuff has a base. Like, it's just like even
What a lowered bar
I know,
for those kids.
but it's like, it's one of those things though where it's just like the same way that there's like people who are like way into, I don't know, like those 90s Fantastic Four movies or whatever with like Jessica Alba. Like, those
Right.
movies are garbage, but people that saw those as like kids love them. I know someone on this
Right.
podcast that seems to love the Green Hornet movie.
Rude. It's amazing. Yeah,
When
and
she
so
saw it when she was the ripe age of, I'm going to say 5, 6.
no.
How old were you when that came out that you like it?
Didn't Green Hornet come out in like
2011?
2011?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't realize
forgot.
it came out that long ago, to be honest.
I forgot that I outed myself that I'm only 13.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Katie just
I love
turned 12 this year.
yeah, I'm 13. I love that movie so much. I can't wait to do it. It's great. Okay, what was even happening? Justice for Hayden Christensen. I'm so happy that he's been redeemed in the eyes of.
I'm glad everyone's nice to him again, but those movies still fucking suck and he's a terrible actor.
Well,
I hope
Yeah.
he's doing good at whatever his new job is.
I don't. I really don't know either.
All of his credits, it seems like he does a lot of like the voice for like
Yeah,
young
yeah.
Anakin in movies or video games.
Yeah.
And yeah, that seems great. Good for you.
But I mean, it's like also like, I don't know. That's not like it's not necessarily his fault. I feel like every kid in one of these movies is the fucking worst.
yeah,
And like some of them, like there's kids like, you know, like Haley Joel Osment was pretty fucking annoying as a kid actor, and he's kind of like rounded out to be a cool dude as an adult. So like,
Yeah.
and like, you know, had like a pretty decent career. It's just, you know, you got put up with a bunch of people like me being like, you suck. Be a better actor,
Yeah.
5-year-old.
Yeah, and I think the standards for child actors I feel like are a little bit different now too.
Yeah, they don't get any
Um,
cocaine anymore.
right.
Honestly, I
So
think they should
they
do.
took
You know how they'll like make like a 30-year-old play a teenager in these movies? Same thing.
hmm
Like it's just make like a Michael Caine should have been like the child in this movie.
right.
Just Michael
Yeah.
Caine. Like no one even
That could have
acknowledged.
been Danny DeVito.
Yeah, there you go. It could have been Joe Pesci.
Oh man.
The child actor is like older than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
I love
Fucking
it.
Danny DeVito. It's in the other room petting Ted.
He is to
Like
you,
what?
Dad.
Yeah.
see now we're cooking. We got a
Um,
real good movie going on here.
I think so. Like,
Who
you
would
know,
let's see who would the neighbor kid be? Who has got to play the neighbor kid?
um,
I think we just go with whoever we don't use as the as Arnold's
I
kid
mean,
between Joe Pesci and Danny DeVito.
see, I was trying. I
right.
was aiming for like, let's see, I was trying to think of like who this kid looks like he could grow up to be in as adult.
Well, he's
Um,
blonde, so neither of them.
You put a wig
Well,
on Joe
yeah, I was gonna
Pesci.
say they don't. You don't like. You don't have to have.
I think I think
Joe
maybe
Pesci in
Joe.
a blonde wig sounds incredible, by the way.
It's
I
like
think
the
maybe
fucking
Joe
like you know
Pesci
the wig
is.
Tim Robinson is wearing, and when he in the Stanzo sketch,
Yeah.
just that wig.
One of those, but blonde.
Yeah, I also know what that means. Woohoo!
You should.
I think Joe Pesci is neighbor kid because he's taller. I think that's how you decide that. So,
Yeah, just whichever one's taller.
Yeah.
yeah, because the neighbor
Fair.
kid was way taller than Anakin, I feel. Okay, wow. What even, why was that happening?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Arnold comes in and says, "Why is Ted on the roof?" Liz is like, "You piece of shit! What happened? Do you know how late it is?" And he's just like, sorry." So he goes in to try and talk to Jamie. He's watching TV. There is a Turbo Man toy commercial in the background, which I love. Howard is just like trying to talk to him. Um, I think I don't know. I have skewed views on children because
Like as a
I
concept?
yes, I feel that he has every right to be pissed, but I feel I also wouldn't be tolerating the way he's acting because he's ignoring his dad. He stomps up the stairs and literally slams the door in Arnold's face. And I was like, there's no way that would fly.
I would have gotten my ass beat.
Yeah, I would have got pushed down the stairs. No, not really. I wouldn't have got pushed down the stairs. But do you know what I mean? Like, there was no way that a parent in like 1996 would have tolerated this shenanigans from him.
Right?
Especially from what is
Um,
essentially a stranger.
right, yeah. So he storms away upstairs to his room. Arnold's trying to talk. Howard's trying to talk to him, whatever. He is basically like acting all goofy because he's like, "Oh, is this it? Is this your purple belt?" And he like puts it on his head and like pretends to do martial arts in a really weird way. I do like Jamie's exasperated eye roll in this moment. I think it's funny. And so then he finally gets him to start talking, and he's just like, I'm really upset because you said you were going to be there and you weren't. You missed this test, you missed that test. And he was like, but I was at this other one. And he's like, yeah, but then you missed 12 other ones. So, whatever. He gets Jamie to warm up to him essentially by bribing him because he asks what he wants for Christmas. And Jamie's like a little freak. And he's like, I want the Turbo Male action figure with the blah, 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 blah. And he's like reciting the fucking commercial.
Can we talk about how sick that Captain America painting on his wall is?
Really cool.
I tried to
And that's
convince Caitlin that we should do that in our bedroom, and they said no.
Boo. I'm on your side, Nathan. And I like that this is like part of like the world building in this movie that I really like is that like other superheroes exist. They create a toy, a TV show, and a comic like for the movie just for this fucking Turbo Man doll, which I think is very cool. So yeah, so he wants the Turbo Man action figure or whatever, and he's like, whatever. So afterwards, Howard goes, oh yeah, he's like, oh yeah, Oh, okay. He says, I,
What's
I,
happening?
I wrote the wrong version of there, and I just like couldn't process what the sentence said because I was reading it correctly. Basically, Howard said, "Oh, Jamie's like,
Sabotage yourself.
I did." This was like my third movie that I had watched that day to take notes on, so it was over for me. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, like I wrote Santa," and he's like, "Oh, well, Santa gets really busy. Like, don't worry, I promise that you'll have this toy." And then they're friends again. So I wrote their THEIR, they're friends again, and I was like, "What does that mean?" It's okay. Howard is very excited about the fact that they have reconciled essentially, and he tells Liz like, "Oh, we bonded over this turbo guy, and yeah, it's really cool. So I'm gonna get him this toy." And Liz is like, "Oh yeah, by the way, like you already got one, right?" And he's like, "Huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, I told you weeks ago to like get this Turbo Man doll. You got it, right?" And instead of just coming clean, he's immediately just like, "Yeah, totally got the Turbo guy." And she's like, "Oh, great," because at this point it would be impossible to find.
I
And he's like,
love the trope of like a movie where the entire plot hinges on like just the most absurd lie someone could tell, and just
"Yeah,
not wanting to just be like, oh yeah, you could just very easily been like, oh well, that sucks. Let's go get him
no,
something else.
yeah, I totally forgot." After making all these promises, she's a piece of shit. That's why.
Meh,
Okay.
he's doing his best.
No, why are you taking this man's side? He's terrible.
Yeah, he said she's his number one like customer. Like, what else does she want?
He says that to everybody, though. He needs to mean that she's the number one
He
customer.
did. I felt it.
It was the last time he said it.
Yeah.
I also love that he's wearing like a Atlanta Olympics shirt from like 1994 or whatever. Great. She's like, "Okay, good, yeah, because there's no way you're gonna get one now." And he's just like, "Whoa, whoa," you know how Arnold is. The next morning, it is Christmas Eve. He goes downstairs and says he needs to go to the office. And Liz is like, "What the hell? It's Christmas Eve." And she was like, "This boy, Jamie is like 10, I would say." And he goes, "I need to go get the DOLL." Like, can your 10-year-old son not spell doll?
I mean, if no one at home is there to teach him how to spell.
That's true. His wife is too busy making cookies. She can't help him with his spelling bee homework, so I get it. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to the office. I left the Turbo Man doll there by mistake, and then like I'm gonna meet you guys at the parade last year." Jamie throws this line that's like, "Oh, Dad, you're gonna come to the parade, right? We go every year." "Well, Mom and I go every year." And then gives him these like puppy dogs.
Damn.
Like, I know, got him. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll meet you there later."
Look, if anyone dragged me to a parade, I would not want to hang out with them either. So I get it.
Same.
Parades are
That's fair.
fucking boring, unless
Yeah.
you
Don't
accidentally
care.
get sewn into the large Charlie Brown.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be fun.
That's how I made all my money.
Um,
It's not getting any bigger.
I hate bald boys.
outside, Ted has bought a reindeer for his son, and he
Normal?
doesn't like Howard. Yeah.
Is that reindeer just
I-
like sticking around after the holidays? What's the plan here?
No.
Yeah, like what's the plan? Oh
The
no, that's
plan-
right. He's gonna release it so
Oh,
it can be
yeah.
find a family around Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, he said, and like you really have to watch the movie to understand the cadence and like weird way that he talks, because he's like, "I've been watching this family of elk at Lake Minnetonka, and hopefully I'm going to release him and he's going to take them in as one of his own." And it's like all like wispy and like whatever, and
He's very wistful.
yeah, like and then
amazing.
it like cuts to Arnold Schwarzenegger's face, like what in the motherfucker? It's just like great. I love them. Their dynamic together to me in this movie is so funny. And then yeah, the reindeer is like biting at him, and he's like, "Oh, that's really weird, because reindeer are usually really gentle. Must be something about you he doesn't like. Maybe your aftershave or something." And he's just like, "Whatever." So he leaves. He goes into the city. We're outside of our first toy store, waiting for it to open, where he meets Myron, who is Sinbad, and he is a postal worker, right? And so Myron is
Killing it.
Amazing.
like
Just the best part of this
A
movie.
great dad.
constantly going on and on about like conspiracy. He's like going on about like consumerism conspiracies and like the
Not wrong.
man
Those
and
aren't
whatnot.
conspiracies.
I
Yeah,
mean, he's not,
he is so right.
but the way that he's portraying it is very much like a conspiracy. It is fact because like literally what he's saying is that like the toy companies like barrage like your kids with like all of these things that make you have to go spend money, and then if you don't do it, it makes you a bad dad, etc., etc. Like that's very much the culture, but the way he's like screaming and like emoting is very much like conspiracy guy.
What is Arnold's job? Like, what is he a salesman for? Do they ever make it like
It's like carpet or something, right?
okay, for some reason I wondered if like I thought like I could like I wasn't sure, and then when he's like going on this thing, for some reason I thought Arnold worked for like a toy company maybe. And I
I
thought that
think
was
he
going to be part of
works.
like their like beef at the beginning, and I was like, "Oh, this is like never mentioned."
No, they don't actually say, and I feel like he does something with furniture because he says to
Yeah.
somebody that they'll reupholster it for free.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
right.
Yeah.
So, but like no, it's not explicitly said. Yeah, so him going on and on is like literally like not really anything to do with Arnold. He's just like picking him to,
I
philosophize to.
like even down to the fact that Myron is like doing all of this on the clock, on the government's
Yeah.
clock because he's
Yeah.
a postman.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So good.
Yeah.
What
A
a
hero.
king.
Just hanging around with his bag of mail. At one point, he's
Loses
throwing
half
mail
of
out
it.
of his bag to gain speed. He's also got on these like snow boots that are not laced. So when he's running, he's just like fucking clomping around. He is literally on the edge. He's on the precipice of hell. He is. Okay, so the toy store finally opens. Everybody's running inside. Some of the employees get trampled and whatnot. All of the Turbo Man dolls are sold out, of course. And when they ask about it, the employees and the customers are all laughing at them for being like fucking stupid. It's Christmas Eve, right? Like you're not going to be able to find the hottest toy or whatever. One of them says that, and then Arnold like intimidates one of them, as you do. And he's like, oh, well, there's a lady that had the last doll on layaway.
A very young Chris Parnell.
Yeah.
Oh.
The other guy is like
yeah.
somebody from a bunch of these like 90s comedies as well. I just can't remember what his
Yeah.
name is.
Yeah.
Only the most popular selling Christmas toy ever. Blah.
They're
Yeah.
so annoying, it rocks.
Such a fucking prick.
He is actually really so young that like I don't think I even recognized that was him
Yeah, this
until you
is
Right.
said it.
probably right before he joined SNL, maybe like right after.
The other one is Patrick Richwood.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever recognize that guy's name, but his face is
No.
like extremely recognizable
I also-
from all, like a bunch of movies from this time.
A lot of good that guys in this movie.
I don't know if you guys will have recognized him, but so essentially,
Arnold?
Oh,
Yeah.
Arnold
that's
Schwarzenegger's
Terminator,
in this
Katie.
movie, by the way. I thought he was RoboCop.
Have you not seen
Wow.
classic Terminator Salvation?
Oh, God.
Only from Popstar. What? Oh, that was Predator. Was that
Yeah,
Predator?
that's Predator. I was sitting after the right go
We're
through the
digging
movie
deep.
in my brain.
Yeah. I
Listen,
was like, what did I miss?
you guys don't know this because you haven't listened to our Ernest Saves Christmas. Well, no, I guess you would have at this point. Whatever. My life has been turned upside down because because of this
Katie had
dinosaur
a
show.
revelation about her entire life in the Ernest
And
episode.
then this morning, Nathan was like, could it be this? Could it be this? And I was like, I will never forgive Kit if he is correct about.
I re-listened to that. I listened to the episode at work just to make sure it was like okay. And I was fucking dying when like Kit was like, "Are you sure it's not like just this one for Mrs. Doubtfire?" And you have this like realization flash through your head at the moment. You're like, "Oh my god, my whole life is maybe based off this fucking."
I'm telling you, I am just at this point. I'm just losing my mind.
You're literally like, oh my god, was it? No, it can't
What
be.
the fuck?
I'm going into denial mode immediately.
Yeah.
I still haven't been able to rewatch Miss Doubtfire. And then I told Nathan this morning, because I can't stop thinking about it. I think I might be conflating that scene with like Jurassic Park, and so like, I don't know.
Every piece of dinosaur media you consumed as a child, you just rolled into one like whole half-hour program.
Yeah, I really feel like there's a thing where you just like you saw Jurassic Park and then like Beekman's World or some shit.
Miss Doubtfire afterwards.
But I'm telling, yeah, and like Jurassic Park and Doctor Dolittle, Mrs. Doubtfire. I'm losing my mind. The timeline works for me to have done that, and I just need to once and for all watch it and then decide, because I have this very clear image in my head of what I'm thinking, and if it's Mrs. Doubtfire, I might have myself committed. So, okay, rewind. The clerk at the toy store says, this old lady just had the last doll in layaway. She just left with it. Maybe you can catch her. So, Howard,
Same thing.
Howard and Myron, basically like try and race out of the toy store, and they're like sabotaging each other, like pushing each other over. There's a boy sitting on the floor that Howard like takes the remote control from, and that is Marcus the Movie Surfer. If anybody remembers the Movie Surfers from the Disney Channel.
Nope.
And he was also in Little Giants.
Nope.
Huh.
Yeah. So shout out to my Movie Surfer kids. Anyway, so yeah, they're like sabotaging, like pushing each other over, whatever. So Howard ends up getting out of the store. He sees the Turbo Man doll in the back of this lady's like station wagon. He's like, please stop, please stop. But he is a huge fan running towards her car, and she's like, oh, and like stomps on the gas and like fucking floors it out of there. So he's lost it. Then there's a montage of basically like Howard just going to different stores and having no luck. Then he calls home. And basically Liz is at home watching the kids and like baking cookies, and Ted comes in and is like, oh, you've had a really long day, like why don't you go relax, take a shower, I'll take care of the cookies. So while she's doing that, Howard calls to talk to Liz, presumably to like confess, but Ted is like, oh, she's in the shower, do you want me to go check? And he's like, no. But the whole time Ted is eating sugar cookies and just going, oh my god, these cookies are amazing. And his face is just over the top. It's crazy.
I mean, like, sugar cookies aren't that good, no matter how good they are.
Sugar cookies are trash.
He's not eating like a perfect chocolate chip cookie or something.
No. I'm here to say
this is how I know
sugar
he
cookies
is the
are trash.
worst.
No.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to stand with sugar cookies over chocolate chip.
No. See, you're wrong.
No!
I like sugar cookies,
Hang
but
up, Kit, immediately.
I'll
You're
drop
off.
a kid out of this call.
Get one of those sugar cookies that's like completely coated in icing. Oh man,
Yeah, that's
the shit.
I don't
will
think
say-
you can go wrong at all with like a fresh out of the oven chocolate chip cookie.
No, they're
To
so
where
good.
you bite it
I will
and the
say
entire inside of your mouth burns off because it's still fucking scorching hot.
it's literally
like
a
warm-
volcano.
I don't like warm cookies either.
All right, how do I get out of this call?
Okay, are you a chewy or a crunchy?
Chewy.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you have that.
Crunchy,
going.
I will do, and if I'm like at the grocery store and I'm
If
just
it's
like, well, this
if
is
it's
an
dire
option.
times,
Yeah,
I'll do crunchy.
like I need cookies right now, and this is what they have. So
I do like crunchy if it's those big ones with like the chunks of chocolate, those are okay to
that's
be
fine
crunchy
then.
for me. I will say I do not like sugar cookies. I love snickerdoodles though, which is insane because they're essentially the same thing, just like with cinnamon. But this one time we got cookies delivered as a Christmas present from Cheryl's maybe, and they have a chocolate sugar cookie that I would kill for. They're so good.
that does sound good.
Oh my god, they're so good. Okay, we can't start talking about cookies.
Sure, we can.
We'll go through them. Yeah, so Ted's basically having what I called a cookie orgasm. This is where Howard says one of my favorite lines, which is, "Put that cookie down!" He's just like yelling on the street.
Yes, into a
Um,
payphone.
yeah.
The fact
So
that like anyone in this town isn't constantly baffled by like Arnold.
this huge
He
Yeah.
man.
seems like he's just has like the most like insane life going on.
Yeah, yeah. So he hangs up the phone. Then he runs into Myron again, and Myron is like, "Hey, sorry about that back there. Like, I think we should team up. We're two fathers. It's the same mission. It's Christmas. Like, let's team up." And Howard is essentially just like, "No, thank you." And
Rude.
Myron, yeah, gets mad,
Yeah, now
and
he's got to kill Arnold's kid.
Yep.
That's the rules.
yeah,
Throw him off the building.
That's
Only
fine.
way.
Throw off the building. And he basically just like starts going off again about how like, oh, like you think that you're better than me because you're wearing these nice loafers and a suede jacket and blah blah blah. As they're arguing, this random man for some reason runs past them and is like, "They got Turbo Mans at the mall." I don't know why he's like advertising that to strangers on the street, but
He saw two dads that were struggling, and he knew what it was.
must be a Turbo Man doll.
Hey, you dumb shits.
So
Go to the mall.
yeah. So this is so they immediately are like rushing to the mall. Howard gets in his car and backs up into a police bike that he knocks over, and
Hell
when the
yeah.
guy comes out,
Yeah.
it's the same cop from before. And he's like, "License and register." "Oh, you broke my little mirror." That's what he says.
Fucking-
My little mirror.
Arnold could have easily just bench pressed this cop. Like, just the whole movie could have been solved by Arnold murdering this cop from the beginning, and it would have made it very based.
Yeah, it would have been such a good twist. So
All of a sudden, like in the middle of the movie, Arnold just murders the cop.
Yeah.
yeah, goes into hiding.
Now I've never
So-
seen Jamie again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh well.
The end.
Good. Yeah, he was annoying anyway, right? Let's just start over. Ted can have him. At the mall, Howard gets to the store. Myron's there. There's all of these people waiting, and the employees basically say, "We got Turbo Mans. We're going to give everybody a rubber ball that's going to be like a lottery." I don't really understand how it works because there's numbers on the balls or anything like that, and they're just like bouncy balls, but whatever.
I mean, I assume
They're
that
like-
there is supposed to be numbers on it. You just can't see them, like the way it's shot.
Yeah. So this is one of my favorite scenes because they're basically just like, yeah, it's going to be a lottery. So and of course the employees are like, everyone in an orderly fashion, come get the balls. They bum rush the employees. So the employees just toss the balls up in the air. And there's this slow-mo scene of like Arnold, and it's shot from above, Arnold and Sinbad jumping up in slow-mo and just getting fucking railed in the face
Like-
by all of these balls. It's so funny. I love it.
Like the world's
Um,
dumbest basketball tip-off. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And of course they like completely miss all the balls. So there's like balls bouncing all over the fucking place. Myron ends up getting one of the balls, and Arnold goes, "He got two! He got two!" Which is another line
Get
that
the
we say all the time.
mailman!
So everybody tackles Myron essentially. And then Howard ends up following this bouncy ball, like chasing it throughout the entire fucking mall. And eventually it ends up dropping down to the ground floor of the mall and into a kid's lap. And the kid has it. And he's like, "That's my ball. That's my ball." So he follows the kid into like a tiny like play jungle gym area where he ends up in the ball pit. And he's trying to get the kid to like give him the ball, and she just like puts it in her mouth, and he's like, he goes to like, like touch her cheeks to get the ball to pop out, but all of the moms are like, "You pervert, get away from my kid," and just start beating him with purses
Purses.
and like wrapping paper and stuff, and he says, "I'm not a pervert." It's great. So he's like, "I'm not a pervert, I was just looking for a Turbo Man doll." So he leaves the play place, and a Santa Claus who is Jim Belushi.
Yep.
Oh, is it?
Best part of the film.
Yeah, overhears him say that he was looking for the Turbo Man,
Has anyone
and he's
ever
like, "Hey."
said that about Jim Belushi except for Kit just now?
overhears him say, he's like, hey, buddy, you're looking for a Turbo Man doll? And then Arnold does kind of a joke in poor taste about how he's not going to sit on his lap or whatever. And he's like, no, buddy, like, hey, I can help you out or whatever. And the Santa's elf shows him a Polaroid of him holding a doll that looks very much like a ransom photo. It's just like him holding the doll with today's newspaper. He's like, this is taken earlier today, and I can like give you like whatever. Howard is like kind of sus about it, but he's just like so desperate that he's like, okay, fine, like I want this doll, let's go. So he then drives Santa and the elf out of town to this like fucking warehouse. I would have been like, no, I'm out. This is such a bad idea. So they go into the warehouse, and there's like a bunch of like really cheap looking toys and like Santas, and like there's just like this whole operation. And Arnold's like, I don't know, this seems really sus. Like, are you sure this isn't a scam? And Jim Belushi like gives him this like whole speech about how it's like for the kids and this, that, and the other shit or whatever.
Hard-working Santa Clauses in this operation.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, by the way, that's $300. And Arnold's like, what? And he's like, well, if you want the doll. So Arnold coughs over $300. They give him the Turbo Man that's like wrapped in paper. So he opens it, and Jim Belushi's like, hey, why don't you not open that? He opens it, and he like presses the button, but the doll is speaking Spanish. And he's like, oh yeah,
his
that's
arm falls off.
That's the bilingual version. And then like the entire thing just like falls through the bottom of the box. And he's like, hey, like this is trash. Like I want a refund. He's like, oh, sorry, no refunds. And then he calls them con men. And them's fighting words. All of the Santas are like running out to like fucking fight Arnold. And who's the I'm gonna deck your halls bub?
The Big Show.
Wolverine?
Yeah, Wolverine always says bub.
Yeah, it definitely was Wolverine.
Yeah, it's the big Paul White.
So Arnold's doing a pretty good job, like hitting them with candy canes and flicking their beards and shit. And then the man that you said
dirty. Do not enjoy that.
Sorry, I slipped into. I was like reminiscing about A Fist and Duke Christmas, so my bad.
As we all do.
Yeah, and then Big Santa comes out and is like, "I'm gonna deck your halls, bub," and he's like huge, maybe the only person more jacked than Arnold Schwarzenegger at this point, and just like he like punches him out. They're like they're still like fighting. Like Howard falls over, and a bunch of the elves are like jumping on his head and shit. And Howard ends up like sucker punching the Big Show.
Yeah.
What's his name? Oh, okay. And then one of the elves tases him in the gooch, which I imagine just feels bad. And then he like falls over, and all of a sudden the cops bust in and are busting the operation. And the one cop walks up and he's like, "Who are you?" to Howard. And Howard has does one of these things in movies that just really is like, it's just one of those tropes where he like picks up a fake badge and like is like, he flashes it really quick. He's like, "This is the shiniest bust I've ever seen. I've been working this case for 3 years, and you guys come in here, you blah blah blah," and like basically scams his way out of getting out of trouble, and he just like leaves.
He got lucky he didn't get one of those punches from the Big Show.
He on his way like back into town, his car runs out of gas on the bridge, and he pushes it to a diner where he goes.
Of him.
What?
Should have stopped and got gas.
I know.
It tells you when it's low on everything. They have a whole gauge for it.
Isn't that wild? Crazy. He goes into a diner to get coffee where Myron happens to be, and he goes, "Peace, 'tis the season to be jolly." Just the way he says it is so funny to me. They basically start talking. You know, he's got what I assume is probably whiskey that he's like spiking their coffees with. And they basically like make up. They start commiserating about how they're both bad dads. And memories of like being young when like Jamie used to actually like Howard, and then Myron's talking about how the reason that he turned out fucked up is because his dad didn't get him this like
Johnny Omega.
Yeah, this like seven
Seven
gun
in one gun,
which I don't even understand what that is. But and this is probably literally my favorite part of the entire movie. Arnold is thinking that like, oh my God, he really has to find Jamie this toy, because if not, Jamie's going to turn out like Myron. And it like shows a shot of like Jamie, like the actual kid, wearing like all of Myron's postal stuff. And he goes, "Here's to you, Dad." And he like takes a swig of the whiskey and he goes, "Ah." And just like the way the kid does it just literally cracks me up. I love it so much. So we say "Here's to you, Dad" all the time too. Really weird that we say a lot of these lines, and this is just like a Christmas movie. Okay, so they're still at the diner, like talking or whatever. They hear over the radio that there's a contest that Ernest would not win, because the contest is that you have to call in and name all of the reindeer correctly. And if you do, you will get a Turbo Man doll. And they're like, oh my God, I know how to do that. So they're like fucking fighting each other to call the station.
How does no one call in the time it takes Arnold to run there?
I don't know.
This town is full of the dumbest people.
Yeah, because there's also when so they basically fight and break the phone, and then the guy who works at the diner is like, "Okay, idiots, the radio station is literally over there on Wabasha." And they're like, "Okay," so they run there. When Howard gets into the station, you hear somebody on the phone and they're like, Jose, Tyrell, like just saying like
the one who names the Jackson 5 is my favorite.
Yeah, and it's like, what?
Tito?
It's better than Ernest at least gets all of them except Donder, and he can't remember Blitzen, but like you're not close at all. So he breaks into Arnold. This is the scene where they're like running, I think, and Myron is like throwing mail out of his bag to like make himself lighter so he could like beat him or whatever, which to me is so funny. So Howard breaks into the radio station, scares the shit out of the jockey, and is like, and he's like saying the reindeer, and the guy's like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm calling the police. Myron comes in and is like, stop right there. I've got a bomb. And he like pulls out a present that he is saying is a homemade explosive device. And Howard is like, oh my God, you have a bomb? And he's like, don't you read the news? People send bombs through the mail all the time. I didn't have to make one. I just saved one in case I needed it, which also is very scary. And so he's basically just like, you gotta give me they're like arguing back and forth or whatever. And Myron ends up like dropping the bomb, and they're like, hit the deck. But it turns out to be just a music box, and Arnold is like essentially gonna like, bust his face open when the DJ is like, hey, you guys need to calm down because I don't actually have a Turbo Man doll here. What you win is a voucher to get one later. And they're like, oh my God.
That's not what was advertised. Fucking liar.
Listen, it's Diablo 2 all over again.
This movie needed
bastards.
To just have like one scene where Arnold loses it and just like John Wicks somebody. Just murders this like radio DJ.
Rips his ponytail off.
Yeah, it makes him eat it.
Delicious. So just then the cops show up and they're like, you called the cops? And he's like, yes. Myron and Howard are trying to leave, but they go out into like where the elevators are, and all of the cops come out. And who would you guess is there? It's the motorcycle cop. So he's like, stop right there. And then Myron takes out another package and does the exact same thing, like immediately. And is like, I have a bomb. I'm going to blow up this place. I'm crazy. Ask that guy. And Howard's just like, yeah, he is insane. And so they're like, okay, like everybody be cool. Myron puts the package down, and Howard and him both run away. And the motorcycle cop is like, don't worry, guys. I was on the bomb squad for 10 years. This is just a harmless Christmas present. And he opens it, and it's literally a fucking bomb, and it explodes. And Myron goes, oh my God, that was really a bomb. This is a sick world we're living in with sick
world,
people.
sick people.
As he just was threatening to blow them up. Insane. Also, he's been running around with that in his bag all day, and it's been fine. And then, so this thing about the cop being like, I was on the bomb squad, whatever, I'm just going to open this package, and then it explodes, to me, tracks very well. Okay. Howard goes back to his car. It has been completely dismantled. And so he gets it towed back home. When he gets home, he sees through his front window that Ted is putting the star on top of his Christmas tree, and Howard is like, that's my tree and my star, my family, or whatever. But then he remembers that earlier that day, Ted told him that he got a Turbo Man for Johnny, and it's nestled safely under his tree. He says it like that, too. So he decides he's going to break in and get it. Meanwhile, like, it shows inside where, like, Ted's putting the star up, and Liz is like, wait, what are you doing? Like, that's his job. It's like, sorry, that's Howard's job to put the star on top of the tree. And then he says something like, if only Howard cared about his family as much as he cared about the star, or something like that. And I was like, you're not wrong, but come on. Liz's face is just like, okay. So he breaks in, he gets the doll. Of course, Ted's house is insane. There's like a train around the tree. There's presents. There's like a blow mold nativity scene inside or whatever.
So you know someone's a real psychopath and they have this amount of like Christmas decorations.
I mean,
yeah, I said it. If you drive past any of those houses that are just overdone with Christmas stuff, they've probably murdered somebody.
I mean, it's fair. Yeah, so he gets the doll, he's leaving the house, and he has a change of heart. He's like, I can't steal this from a child. Like, what am I doing? I'm going to go put this back. But it's too late because the reindeer has seen him and starts chasing him around the house. Meanwhile, we were talking about this recently. Some carolers show up outside. And Ted, this is like one of my favorite scenes too, because I feel I've been in this situation. It's like, so like, Liz and Ted go outside to like watch the carolers, and they're like swaying back and forth, and Ted puts his arm around her, and she just like does this thing where she like swings and like pretends like she's just like really into swinging to like get his arm off of her, and he's just like it's just like very funny the way that they play it. So they're watching the carolers. Howard is running around Ted's house being chased by the reindeer. He knocks off one of the blow molds and the head goes into his fireplace. I will say, if you're not in your house, you probably should not be having a roaring fire going on, but that's just me. And so the blow mold is like smoking, catches on fire, and Howard ends up kicking it out the window at the carolers, and the carolers like scream and scatter. And they're like, oh my God, what is that? And they run over, and Ted like puts the fire out, and he picks up the head, and he goes, Balthazar! Which to me, I don't know why. It's so funny.
It's such a good like mix of like sadness and rage over it, the way he delivers it. Balthazar.
And like also that you know the names of your like nativity guys, like that's insane. Then they're like, oh my God, what's going on? They see Liz in Howard inside Ted's house or whatever. So they go in and like, what are you doing? And Ted's like, oh, that's maybe his name's Johnny. That's Johnny's Turbo Man doll. And then Liz is like, what even are you doing? Like, you said that you already got Jamie his. And he's like starting to kind of like make up an excuse, and she's like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I've been listening to your lies for like however long we've been married. Like, I'm done. Ted, will you take us to the parade? And he's like, sure. So they leave. And Ted at the last minute turns and goes, you can't bench press your way out of this one. Which
he could
find so funny. And I assume there's like certain lines that he delivers that I really feel were like improv, and that to me feels like,
oh yeah, I bet he does like a bunch of improv.
Like the way he like says it low and like over his shoulder, you can't bench press your way out of this one. To me, love it. then there's like this whole scene that I never liked, even as a child, where Howard ends up punching the reindeer out and then feeding it beer. Don't do either of those things to a reindeer. But they make up.
They love
fine,
beer.
whatever.
Yeah, you don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So it cuts to the parade. They are showing like scenes of like the actual parade and whatever. Jamie and Johnny get out of the van to go watch the parade, and Ted is gonna go park. And Liz is like upset, obviously, because like all this shit that's happening. She's gotten like a fight with her husband or whatever. You know what?
I do.
I've never known.
I think I somehow skipped the she's next door, Pet and Ted.
Oh, yeah.
I think I did. That's okay. It's a good joke, but whatever.
I also missed Ears of a Snake,
It's pretty sure.
which is a line that I repeat every day of my life.
The only reason we did this episode is so you could do that line and you missed it.
Ah, damn.
Botched it.
Let's just restart the whole episode.
Yep.
Okay. So
From the top.
All right.
So this
so
movie
do you guys
starts
want to
with-
hear the tagline for this movie?
Yeah. Ta Turtle Man.
Got it. Nailed it.
Okay, so they're at the parade. They park the van. Liz is like very obviously upset. And again, I don't know why this makes me laugh so hard, but Ted goes, "Here, have some non-alcoholic eggnog." Like, I don't know why him specifying that it's
Because
non-alcoholic
again,
to me is
like
so
Caitlin
funny.
said, he's very Ned Flanders. So like the fact that it would be non-alcoholic is like who?
Which makes sense.
Why would you suffer yourself eggnog if there's not alcohol in it?
I don't know. That is
I've
a good
never
question.
tasted it. It seems gross.
My problem with it is that like I don't like to
Eggs
me
or nog?
I do like eggs. Usually. Sometimes I'm weirded out by them, but I don't like regular milk because to me the taste and the aftertaste has like a wet dog situation going on. And so eggnog to me is very, and like I don't like egg yolk, which also to me has a wet dog situation. I don't know what it is. So like to me the thickness of it is weird, and also the taste of it to me I just like don't like that deep eggy taste. However, if you put some rum in that, I'll have it. Give it to me. It's fine. But just by itself, like I'm not being on the nog, if you
I'm
will.
not here for anything
So-
that thick that I have to drink.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think when you add, this might sound gross to some people, but if you add ice,
Ham?
like
Yeah,
yes, chunks of
Just
ham.
a whole slice
Yeah.
of ham in there.
Ham
It is-
cubes.
It is a eggnog du fromage, if you will. It has to be very cold, so you have to add ice to it, and then when you add the rum, it kind of makes it not as thick, and so that's why maybe I think it's okay. But I'm having one glass at most. Like I don't know how people buy like a gallon and are drinking it. That's too much for me. I'm not about it.
Kid,
Too much nog.
do you like eggnog?
I've never had it. I
Oh,
don't actually know what it is. Like,
well,
other than it's eggy.
And noggy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
self-explanatory.
yeah, I don't really know what there's not to know about that description.
Yeah, I think you've never had nog before.
I
Just
don't
a
know.
plain
Let's
old
see.
nog without the egg.
This is disgusting. If you
Egg
just,
milk punch sounds
literally,
fucking
that's literally
horrible.
what I was about to say. If you Google it, it says milk punch or an egg milk punch,
Yum.
and that is not what it is. That is not what
I'm
it
gonna
is
become
at
a
all.
wrestler, so my
Disgusting.
finishing move could be eggnog punch
Egg-
or whatever.
Egg milk
punch.
egg milk punch. That's a pretty.
I think I'd try it with some rum
Yeah,
or
it's.
bourbon.
I think
like-
okay because do you like custard?
Then
Then you might not like it. It is like a custardy taste. So if you like the cream and like Boston cream pie, or if you like custard, like you know how they have frozen custard.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like inherently like that flavor, I feel like you might not. But with the rum, like especially
This is my last year's resolution instead of my New Year's resolution. Before the year's over,
okay.
I'm gonna
And-
have a glass of nog.
And especially if you like spiced rum, it's really good with spiced rum because it
Oh, yeah.
already has like a cinnamon nutmeg thing going on. But like,
Oh, all right.
yeah.
I love cinnamon. I'll taste anything that has cinnamon in it, to be
All
honest.
right. Even pancakes with poop in them.
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
Can't rule it out.
Well, report back on the eggnog situation. I don't
Eggnog latte espresso drink, you say?
Yeah, those are pretty popular. I don't like them because I don't like the taste of them warm. You know,
Oh, God,
I don't know.
all of
Wait.
this is the worst.
This is a British drink? Never mind. I'm not drinking this shit. I'm out. I've got standards.
Okay,
We
fair.
don't drink colonizer drinks here.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, non-alcoholic eggnog. Here you go. Pours it in. She takes a sip or whatever, and he immediately like confesses his love for her, but in a way that's like she's like stressed out because of everything that just happened. He's just like, it's okay, just let out your feelings for me. I understand.
Immediately jumps on her, like not 15 minutes after all of that.
And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, I've been feeling it too. This is the part where I was saying earlier where he's like, it all started for me 3 months ago at the barbecue when you asked me how to marinate. And then he's just like so delusional. And she's like, not into it. While this is happening, Howard has arrived at the parade and he sees in the car Ted hitting on Liz. And he's like, oh, I don't fucking think so. So he like charges. But meanwhile, the motorcycle bomb cop turns around. His hands are all like fucking bandaged from the bomb exploding, and he's got cups of coffee in his hand. He turns around and Howard bumps into him, and the coffee spills all over his face. And he's like, so Howard can't go like confront Ted. He's got to run the other way, right? But that's okay because Liz is literally like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's just like, oh no, it's fine. And he like leans over to kiss her. And she just like hits him in the head with the eggnog thermos and gets out. And he's like, well, that didn't really go as expected.
I have a lot of questions about the police force in this town, that this cop is still on duty the day
After
his
being
hands
exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
also,
much is
like,
he supposed to do with his
everywhere.
hands bandaged like this?
When he
This is what happens when you cut police budgets, okay?
That's right. Yeah.
You get one cop
One
patrolling
cop,
the
they
whole
don't even
city that
have-
gets blown
They don't
up.
even have a tank. Like,
He doesn't even have a little mirror on his motorcycle anymore, and he's just,
I'm gonna be honest with you. If my vehicle got run over and then I got exploded and they still expect me to work, I would have fucking quit.
Yeah.
That was like literally my thought when I was watching it this time, where I was like, there's no way I'd be showing up to work with like my hands bandaged. Yeah, how are you supposed to do anything?
yeah, this was back when the youth had a work ethic.
Oh, right. Yeah. Fair. Okay, so the cop is chasing Howard like through the parade. He goes into the back of this building where he's immediately like this like guy runs up to him and is like, are you the guy? Are you the guy? And he's just like, huh, what? And he just like bumbles his way through where he's getting like suited up, and the guy's like, hey, don't worry, like here's this, here's that, here's that. Yeah, so we just want to thank you for like showing up because there was like this freak accident earlier, and the doctor said that the previous guy showed some brain activity this morning.
That's a really good sign.
And he's like, oh, what? Of course. And they're like raising him up on this platform, and he looks up and sees Snot as Booster, and he's like, oh, you're Booster. And then he's just, I don't remember what he says, but he's raised up into the air. He comes out in a float, and he's Turbo Man. This is also the scene where the parade float is coming, so they're playing like the Turbo Man theme song, and the guy with the sick ponytail is like, it's like, it's very catchy. It's a very catchy song. So Howard has been mistaken for this guy who's supposed to play Turbo Man in the parade. So he's up on stage, and Booster's like, wave, like, what are you doing? You're just standing there. So they're like waving and like doing all this stuff. And essentially what happens is that they unveil this Turbo Man doll, which, as we said, is fucking huge for some reason. And he like picks up the doll and he like has this moment where he's like, oh my God, I finally got it. Yes, I'm the best dad in the world. Woohoo. And then they're like, okay, yeah, you're supposed to pick a kid to give that to. And so he's like looking around. And of course, the float has stopped right in front of his son, Jamie. And so he's like, you. And Johnny and Jamie are like arguing about who's supposed to go up there. Just then the mic cuts in and he's like, Jamie. And he's like, whoa, he knows my name.
And he's Austrian.
Yeah.
Weird.
So Jamie goes up there to get the doll. They have like a moment together. Howard is about to like reveal to Jamie that he is his father. Interesting. He's his father. When Myron, dressed as Dementor, who is Turbo Man's arch nemesis,
cool
jumps down onto the float. He's
so sick.
He's got like
weird water all around his brain.
His brain exposed in like a glass thing, just water sloshing around in there. Not even covering the whole brain either. So I don't really know how that works, but very cool. He jumps down in the costume because he's stolen it. And he's in Howard's like, Myron, what the fuck? So they are like doing whatever. They start fighting. And this is when Myron says, ta-ta, turtle man. And he's about to like escape or whatever when Howard, for some reason, they've made his parade suit fully functional. So he's got like shooting discs that he shoots him with. Another really great slow-mo shot of Myron getting hit in the face with the disc, and his head is just like flopping. It's very good.
Perfect.
And this is when the demon team shows up to fight him. So they grab him, and Jamie is able to get free and run. So Myron is now chasing Jamie like up scaffolding and shit to the point where they're on top of like a building where they climb. Also, like a Christmas tree thing that falls and is literally dangling like 15 stories over the street, and everyone's just like, this is normal.
Yeah, I don't understand how the mom at this point, who should know that none of this is planned, her son did
so
that.
Liz like is running, like chasing him at some point, and the cop stops her and is just like, don't worry, ma'am, this is all part of the show. And she's like, no, that's my son. And he goes, oh, he's wonderful. And I was like,
He's watching a different actor.
He also was 10. I mean, maybe in 1996 you could have a child climb scaffolding, but this isn't the 80s,
This
you know?
is shot in the Philippines.
Right, exactly. That was my thought too. Okay, so like Myron's chasing him. This part of the movie is like very ridiculous because Howard throws off the demon team guys, and at one point he also punches Booster off the float, and then a bunch of kids start kicking him.
Everyone's so mean.
And they're like,
Booster.
we hate you. I know.
Right?
We hate you, Booster. And they're like fucking kicking this person. Crazy. Howard uses the jetpack on his costume to fly around. And this is another like just really ridiculous, like over the top thing where he like flies up into the air and he's like zooming around in space. Like not really, but essentially, you know. And this goes on for a while. But essentially what happens is that Jamie and Myron are like dangling from this tree decoration because Myron is willing to kill a child for this Turbo Man doll.
That's how much it means to his son.
He's like, I'm not exaggerating. He's like kicking at him and trying to grab.
I have a theory that Myron doesn't actually have a son and he just wants it for himself.
He's a reseller.
Yeah, he's going to resell it on eBay.
I believe that. I believe that a reseller would go to these heights.
100%.
Oh, especially
Definitely.
in the 90s when there weren't a whole lot of like secondary options. Like, he's
Yeah.
going to make like easily with, especially this limited edition one. Like,
Yeah,
that's like $6,000 right there.
Literally, yeah. So essentially what ends up happening is they're dangling or whatever. Jamie Myron ends up grabbing the Turbo Man doll out of Jamie's backpack, and then Jamie falls to his death, essentially, but Howard is able to zoop up and zoop zop him.
It would be so sick if this movie ended.
if he just died.
Just all of a sudden pivots to like a funeral.
He's still dressed as Turbo Man.
Yeah.
He now thinks he's so devastated
Yeah,
by his son's death that he now thinks he's
He had a
Turbo
full
Man.
blown like just break with
This is
reality.
his Batman
Mental
origin.
break. Yeah. Oh my god. Amazing. I love this.
Way
This is
better movie.
Yeah. This is my spin-off fanfic. I don't Jingle All The Way to Hell. There it is. So he's able to catch Jamie. They fly around. He's like, yay, wow. And he's like, you can always count on me. That wasn't the accent. I don't know. Myron, meanwhile, falls and lands on the float, which I still feel would hurt him, but he's fine. He is also immediately arrested. So at some point, I guess they do realize that it's not an act because the cops immediately pull a gun on him. So I guess they just like want us to assume that. Howard returns Jamie to Liz, and they're like, oh my god, thank you so much, you're so great, you're awesome. And then Jamie's immediately like, oh, I wish Dad was here, he would have thought it was so cool. And Howard's like, this is when he's like, oh yeah, your dad loves you, you're his all-time favorite person. He's like, how would you know that? And he's like, because it's me. And he like takes off his helmet, and they're like, oh my god. This is when Ted comes up to get his son, and his son Johnny, and Johnny is like, oh look, Jamie's dad's Turbo Man. And Ted's like, let's get out of here. And he's like, oh, Dad, you smell like barf. Great. Maybe he said vomit, one of them. And I will say, eggnog, yeah, does have a vomity quality to me, if I'm honest. Then, oh yeah, Dad, you smell like barf. That is correct. I wrote it down. But then, like, this is where they're just like, oh, wow, cool, very wow, you're great, I love you. And the bicycle cop guy comes up and is just like, oh, Turbo Man, you did a great job. We could use a man like you on the force, and, like, salutes him. And then Howard turns around and is like, thank you, officer. And the officer's just like, whoa.
Arrest
and, like,
this man immediately.
He's like somehow not in trouble, even though like all of that shit. That's why I'm saying like him being completely clear of any wrongdoing because he was in a parade float to me does not make any sense. But it's fine.
I'm pretty sure that is a law that you could do any crime you want to as long as you're on a parade float.
As long as you save a child. That's fair. The cop
pretty good trade-off.
The cop like returns the doll to Jamie, but then Jamie is like, you know what? Like, here, your son deserves this doll. And I'm like, my guy, Myron's going to prison. He's not going to be able to give that doll to his son. But it's fine. His character arc is complete. He's no longer a selfish 10-year-old, I guess. He's just like, Jamie, like, I'm so sorry, I didn't, whatever, I wasn't there for you, this, that, and the other thing, like, are you sure, like, you wanted that doll more than anything? And Jamie's just like, I've got the real Turbo Man at home.
Ted.
And then everyone's, yeah, and then everyone's like, yeah, and for some reason, and somehow, all of these people pick Arnold Schwarzenegger up on their shoulders and are cheering and carrying them around, and Jamie's like, that's my dad, and then it just, like, fades out on that. Everything's fine. It all worked out. The end.
Until we get to the sequel when all of a sudden it's Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that one. So
what if that's Jake Lloyd's character? Like all grown up as fucking Larry the Cable Guy.
So the character that Larry the Cable Guy plays is Larry.
Perfect. Yeah, why not?
I'm assuming he could not remember a fake name.
Why was Larry the Cable Guy such a thing for so long?
I don't know. Him
also in Jeff Foxworthy, I just don't understand at all.
At least... Wait, no, I can't say it. One of the people that was on that, like, blue-collar comedy bullshit...
Yeah.
I forget which one. I feel like it was Larry the Cable Guy, but I think I'm wrong. I feel like one of them had some actually, like, surprisingly, like, progressive ideas on, like...
I think Ron White.
Maybe that's who it was. I remember, like, hearing someone talk about it on either in, like, a video or a podcast I listened to about, like, how one of them... Oh, I think it was an episode of Some More News. There was, like, talking.
It was him or
This podcast episode where they talked about why like conservative comedy is so like unfunny. And I
yeah,
remember them talking about how like one of those sort of like older quote unquote like redneck comedians was
yeah,
like actually had like was able to like write jokes that were not offensive while like also kind of playing to that audience or something, and had like sort of some like progressive stances on that shit, but I definitely don't think it was Larry the Cable Guy.
yeah. There's no way it's him, or I can't imagine it's Bill Engvall or
Yeah,
Jeff Foxworthy.
yeah. It's gotta be. Or it could like there may have just been another one that wasn't actually part of that tour that I don't remember. It's been like this is like
Yeah,
something I listened to like a year and a half ago. uh, yeah. Fuck Larry the Cable Guy. That's our
Definitely.
stance on this podcast. If you don't like it, you might be a redneck.
Yeah. Oh, got him.
Um. This movie's fine.
It's so good. It's amazing.
perfect.
It needs at least one child death that we didn't
Yeah.
get, and
That's fair.
more Myron.
I do like understand that the subplot of like Ted trying to get with like Howard's wife definitely doesn't need to be there, because there's not any chance that she's like interested in him, so the stakes of that are nothing. But just if it wasn't Phil Hartman, I would be like, yeah, they should have just cut all that out. But just for him, I feel like I need it to watch him
We
like try and come on to this lady.
we have to watch this movie from 1996 called The Cherokee Kid, where Sinbad plays a cowboy
I've definitely
with
seen that, but I don't.
Burt Reynolds in it playing a character called Otter Bob the Mountain Man.
Hmm.
Sinbad has quite the filmography on here.
Yeah, I
I'm
trying to pull
we've
him back up.
we've done 3 of his movies on this podcast. Might as well keep going.
What else did we do?
Jingle All the Way and
Good
both Good
Burger.
Burgers.
Yeah.
So now we got to
I
get into The
remember
House Guest, and with also has Phil Hartman.
House Guest, First Kid.
Whatever-
Coneheads is a
Whatever
banger.
the fuck
First Kid rocks.
Crazy as Hell is this some weird horror movie on here. Alien for Breakfast. Let's go.
Didn't he have a TV show? Like feel like I remember watching a TV show. Crazy as Hell. Hmm. Wow, Sinbad. Where, what's he doing? What's he up to?
Probably just do it stand up.
I feel like Necessary Roughness was kind of popular, wasn't it? Or was Scott Bakula?
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think you would recognize the cover. It's like a football wearing like a hat and sunglasses.
Oh,
just-
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't know Scott Bakula was in it.
Scott Bakula.
All right. Katie, how much news did you look up in the last 24 hours?
I think it'll shock you to find that I didn't look up any. I am surviving by the skin of my teeth right now after this dinosaur debacle and getting ready to leave on Saturday. I'm literally losing my mind.
Yeah, this is just Stranger Things bullshit. Who cares? Kid, are you excited for Furiosa?
Hell yeah. Although the poster's fucking horrible.
Well, I feel like every major picture poster just kind of looks like this now.
Yeah. It's bad.
I'm here for
Movie looks good
Anna
though.
Taylor-Joy.
I, as you know, love her so much, but I saw a trailer for it and I feel like maybe the trailer just wasn't good, but I was like, ooh, I don't know about
care
this.
about Mad Max at all. So
I don't
her
either
being in
as
it's
like
about
a
the only
franchise,
thing
but
I would like. I care
yeah.
about seeing in it, so I'll probably never watch it.
George Miller has given me no reason to not trust him.
Fair. Oh
Um,
yeah, this poster does not look good at all. Weird choice. Are we going back to like the piss filter, I think it looks
yeah, we
like.
should go back to that 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre look.
I'm in.
All right. I don't know. Anybody watch anything last night?
No.
Nope.
I had to watch football and it was not good.
Dun dun.
Sounds bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad.
All right. Kit, do you want to record something next week while Katie's gone?
Sure.
What days? Like, well, I guess we'll figure it out.
Sunday or Monday.
Okay, yeah, I could do either. We'll figure something out. Let's see what's on the watch list. Let's see if we can find something. The
No, I'm sure we
fuck is
can.
Nano Shark?
Nano?
Yeah.
Did we do Pottersville on for the
Oh, I
podcast?
love Pottersville. No,
What the
we
hell's
haven't.
Pottersville?
It's like
It's a
go ahead.
small town Christmas movie where Michael Shannon gets drunk and dresses up as Bigfoot
Well, so
one
if,
night.
So
that
good.
if we record like Sunday or Monday, that would be the New Year's. We'd be past Christmas by then.
Oh, okay. We can find a New Year's movie that might have Michael
We don't
Shannon
even
as a
have to do
Bigfoot.
New Year's. We could do The Manor with Kevin Nash.
Oh God, that sounds like a terrible way to
What
ring
the
in the
fuck?
new year.
What movie, Katie? What movie were we talking about that I said Kevin Nash was in? I think it was in the Chris Kattan episode. Do you remember?
The COVID movie?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
one where he
maybe.
fights COVID.
I
Yeah,
think,
Let me
yeah.
see. Hold
I
on.
don't.
There was something I brought up. I was like, Kevin Nash is in this. Let's see.
The Punisher.
Oh, that's right. So
Dog.
there's an Asylum Films Thor movie with
Oh yeah,
Kevin
oh
Nash as
yeah.
Odin and Richard Grieco as Loki.
Yes, because
Oh my God,
it was because we were talking about Richard Grieco for the
Yeah, for
Night of the Roxbury.
it looks
that sounds
yeah, it
incredible.
looks amazing. um,
Terrible.
let's see. I'm gonna put this by streaming service. Let's see what's streaming right now. Beastmaster. I'm trying to see if there's anything on here that looks like something I know I could get
Garbage.
Katie to watch.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Find the worst thing.
Yeah. Christmas Doodle, which apparently is a dog
The
movie.
fuck is
Oh,
that?
it's Ashley Hayes Wright's Christmas movie about a Christmas dog.
Oh no.
No, that's a Katie movie for sure.
My girl.
Yeah, Katie's favorite, Ashley Hayes Wright. All right, we'll figure something out. Probably the Meta Knight of the Living Dead.
Oh, true.
Street trash. And we can just talk about them throwing around that penis 100
Just
times.
do Street Trash again.
Didn't we do
Yeah, we
Street
did it in a
Trash?
bonus
Yeah, we
episode.
did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been like 300
Yeah.
episodes. I can't keep
I
up with
forget
it.
what the theme of the bonus episode was, but we definitely did it in a bonus episode.
I think it might have been
okay.
also with Soylent Green,
No,
Street Trash, and
no.
something
Soylent
else.
Green
No?
was the one we did that was like we each picked like a classic we had seen. 'Cause that was like Howsu, Soylent Green,
Oh, okay.
something else.
Okay, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
We definitely did it way early on, I feel like.
Probably Kit and I gonna do Happy Gilmore. I'm assuming. That's my guess.
Yep, and that's it.
Would it surprise you to know that I actually love Happy Gilmore?
It's the one of those sort of early Adam Sandler movies that I can tolerate because I hate Billy Madison.
I like because remember I was telling you about that movie Mixed Nuts that I watched, that like crazy Steve Martin movie, and Adam Sandler was in it, which really surprised me because like in my mind, the early 90s and like I don't know, I have like a time warp about it, but he was acting that way that he acts in that movie, which is what took me aback, and I was like, ew, gross. But I do for some reason like Happy Gilmore. I also liked The Waterboy, and
Waterboy's rough.
I haven't watched it in a very long time. What's the one where Big Daddy? I liked that one, but he's not doing the same like shtick as he is. I did not like Billy Madison that much though, but I want to do like a like Black Sheep or something like that.
Well, you got to pick it for a bonus episode.
Okay, well,
Just pick 3
I had
Chris
a
Farley movies for people to vote on.
okay, and so the reason I was thinking about it is because earlier I had this idea. I was like, oh wait, I do have an idea for a poll. One would have been Little Nicky, and one would have been Dogma. And then I fell down a rabbit hole about how Dogma is not available to stream. So I was like, okay, well, never
I can
mind.
cover it.
I
I think. Let me look some up while you're talking.
okay. Because I brought that up because I was just talking about Ben Affleck, and I just like love that movie. But I liked Little Nicky at the time. I haven't rewatched it in like a decade, so I don't know about that. But I do like Happy Gilmore. All's that to
I thought
say.
Dogma was like streaming on one of my sort of slightly less than legal streaming sites, but it is not. Never mind. I think I might have been equating it with like Sloppy Seconds, the like bootleg Blu-ray place all our stuff from sometimes I think has like a bootleg Blu-ray of it.
I used to have it on VHS, but obviously I don't have VHSs anymore. So
my like original DVD from it that's like very expensive to buy on eBay now.
Yeah, I love it so much. Anyway.
All right, yeah. We'll have something next week. Can now figure something out.
Oh yeah, I'm digging right now.
Guarantee
I'm gonna find
it'll
something.
Be something very stupid, probably from Tubi.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
I'll look later too. All right, if you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IBSufferPodcast. You can listen to Katie and I celebrate the only good holiday, Chris Kattan talking about A Night at the Roxbury and Monkey Bone, both bangers. And then we also have a bonus episode on Popstar Never Stop Never Stopping. Talk about Flatliners a lot. Fitting in an F-line sesh this week.
I told a very, very long story to my sister-in-law about I had to explain who Andy Samberg was and Popstar and all that stuff, all to tell her my favorite line that I forgot to talk about, which is Taylor Swift was arrested for murder.
Taylor Swift got kicked or can't perform with the Poppies because she got arrested for murder.
I don't know why. It's perfection.
There were like 20 things last night while I was working and listening to it. I was like, God damn it, I can't believe I forgot this, and I forgot this, and I forgot this. Yeah, so you can listen to all that on our Patreon, and you should. Give us money.
Definitely. Yeah.
Give us a sweet $5 to get those episodes. Yeah, or else. Kids that come to your house, Jay and Silent Bob style. Beat you up.
Yeah, and make you watch a terrible fucking movie on Tubi.
Yeah, gonna make you watch
Shark Exorcist.
Although, yeah, I don't know. I've heard that movie's pretty fucking bad. Because I remember we talked about doing it early on, and I forget why we didn't, but it's got real bad ratings compared to a lot of the other shitty shark movies.
Which is impressive.
Yes, like I feel like if I remember correctly, this is one of like the lower rated ones. God, there's a bunch of Amityville movies on here again. Boo.
Oh, we could finally do Snakehead Terror.
Katie, do you want to be here for Snakehead Terror?
I don't know what that is. I don't know. Like, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Would you believe it's a Sci-Fi Channel original film?
What about Monster Island starring Carmen Electra? Or Big Freakin' Snake?
I don't know. Just do whatever your heart tells you. You guys could do Amityville Karen.
Oh God, no, you're never gonna be here for that. Kid, let's do.
You're bought in.
Let's do Most Terrifying Places in America. I feel like Katie would legitimately be upset if we covered. If we did some kind of weird haunting or cryptid thing.
Yeah, I did already watch that show though, so I don't really know what you would talk about. The cryptid one was.
What about the Dogman Triangle, Werewolves in the Lone Star State?
Doesn't Kit like the Dogman, or was that the dog?
I think this is.
No, what was the woman you like?
The Donkey Lady. The San Antonio Donkey
This
Lady.
Dogman one
Yeah,
looks like
okay.
it's one of those same documentaries like that Rougarou one you made us watch.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, all right. Well, fucking. Oh shit, we should do Croaked Frog Monsters for Nell. All right, yeah, Patreon or whatever the fuck I was talking about before I fell
Yep.
down
Yeah.
the rabbit hole.
Or else.
Yeah, or else. Yeah, that's right. Kid's gonna come to your house. I remember.
That's
now.
right.
That's a threat. He's gonna come to your house dressed as Turbo Man in like January. You're gonna have no idea what's happening. You can buy merch at our store Frontier shop. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify. You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitchification of Blood. You can follow Katie at Werewolf Face and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. I expect Turbo Man artwork on there soon.
Oh, such a missed opportunity because I already did everything before. And then I was like, oh, dummy.
You could do it in February.
No. I guess I could. Belated
Yeah.
Christmas in February.
Turbo Man is an all the time holiday.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
You can listen to my other podcast, 8K Movie Club. I don't know. This comes out on Christmas Day. I hope your family's not the worst when you're listening to this. Since I assume most
Happy
people are going to listen to
Christmas.
it after Christmas.
Yeah. Hope it didn't suck.
Your family's giving you shit or being racist, throw them off a building like Myron would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch him off a parade float and let little kids kick him.
Myron's got the right idea. He's fucking
Smart.
He's got life figured out.
Yeah, he's not the villain, okay? It's Jamie.
All right. I hope you push Larry the Cable Guy off a building for a toy, but why?